John here. So we had a Mr. Extra Logic ask if I could make a tutorial for the new Categorizer. So I just wanted to show kind of what it would look like. I'm not the best at decorating, but this is kind of what it would look like if you decided to kind of, decorate it. Just have a little platform, whatever, reach the input. So this is kind of I wouldn't exactly call it another version, but I did go ahead and try to compact it some more, so I was able to shave off a couple blocks, block on the depth and the width, and move the track around to the side, and shaved off a block of the height, but also had to drop down another block on the bottom. So yeah. But I was able to kind of shrink it down a little bit. But anyway, it's the same basic design as my last video. And to make it more survival friendly, I went ahead and put the droppers on the top. So you'll see whenever it gets done sorting, you can actually, you can hear it pretty well. Yep. See, so that's all the droppers up here firing to reset. Which, you could always start off like that, and then if you don't like it, you can save up some iron and put some hoppers there, and it would be, quieter. But anyway, so I'll go ahead and start with a tutorial. Let's see. I think I already have all this. So I'll start on the side with the rails. And I normally just put the rails on blocks and not directly on the ground. So can go ahead and put in a couple blocks and run some powered rails. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, so you want a depth here of 8 blocks. And okay, so I just have a normal rail, whatever. Normal rail to do the corner, and then we got 3 powered rails. And then you can come off with more power rails. It's all up to you. If you can't afford it, then you can use normal rails through a lot of this. And as far as the length here goes, that's kind of up to you. It depends on how many output chests you want to have on the length here, right? So that's not really important for now. So we can go ahead and so we're going to build excuse me, we're going to build 2 blocks off the front here, and we're going to start putting down our hoppers to go to the dropper elevator. So you just want 2 pointing in that direction, a 3rd pointing into that one, and then a 4th pointing into that one. It's still kind of more hoppers than I would like, but it's more compact. Alright, so you're going to want 2 hoppers for the filter. And I'll just go ahead and get some glass. So the very bottom block, always put glass. And glass there. We're going to need our comparator here. So dust, and repeater. And our dust we're going to be taking around to a corner like that, because we are going to be putting more blocks here and using a torch here to power that dust to lock the 2nd hopper. Alright, so I put a block down here, and that's going to be where my repeater is going to go to power the comparator. And then coming off the back over the track, just put another dust out, going to a block with a torch. And this block is going to be what locks the front hopper. And to lock that, I just take the dust back like that. Okay, so that is, you know, the item sorter kind of generally done. Kind of. We got a long ways to go. So anyway, put in your secondary input for the filter, and I'm going to go ahead and put down the input chest. Okay, and I'm going to put a second chest coming off the other input, and just put a hopper at the back of the chest pointing into that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put down the droppers just to be able to know where they are, and this is going to be 4 high. And we can go ahead and put down another block here, and that's going to be where our rail ends. And then I'm going to go ahead and just put down the 2 furnaces on the top of the hoppers, and I need some more rails here. So you can put a normal rail there, and then we can put down a powered rail there to, start the minecart. Alright, so behind that powered rail, I'm going to want a block. Behind the block, you need a dust with a block on the side of that. And right next to the comparator, we're going to want to put down a repeater. And go ahead and put that at 4 ticks. And that's going to be the repeater that powers the, the powered rail there. Alright, so block behind that repeater, and just come up in that, and come up another block until you get to the corner here. And that's where we will be powering that repeater. Alright, so coming off the input chest, we can go ahead and put on our comparator to detect that we have items. So you want to block in front of the comparator with a torch. And we're going to just run up a second block there, and then come back over the dust and just put down a couple blocks to come over that block back there. Alright, so we can go ahead and put some dust here, like so. And coming off the side of the filter there, you want to put a torch with a block on top. So that's what's actually going to be doing the, like the one ticking at the top. So that whenever this torch turns off, that one is going to turn on. Okay. Alright, so kind of halfway there. So to start with the actual output, I guess I'll need those. We can go ahead and put down our chest on the track. So after the curve, you don't want it to be the first one that's lined up with the droppers. You want to start your chest on the next one. Okay, so you can just put however many you want. However many that is, should be fine. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put our hoppers into the top. Okay, and we can put in our observers. So you just want an observer pointing at each chest. And I'll go ahead and put the droppers in on this one too, because that's probably how I would build it in my world, since, you know, no iron forms in Bedrock anymore. So you're going to want to put up, coming off the observer, you're going to want to put down a block and then put up 3 temporary blocks. And at the top block, the 3rd block, go ahead and put your dropper in. Make sure it's pointing down. And you can see the reason why we're doing that is so that we can put another dropper pointing up. Okay, so coming off the top there, I'll just put in all of these droppers. Alright, and then I will put in the blocks here behind the observers to put in the lower droppers. Make sure they're always pointing in the right direction too. Okay, so comparators coming off the dropper, pointing at the hopper. Doesn't matter if they're in subtract or compare, obviously. And we can get rid of that for now. I guess I'll go ahead and do the, yeah, we can work on the dropper elevator. Alright, so below the last dropper, the bottom dropper, go ahead and put down a repeater to power the block below it. Block behind that, and you're going to want a dust behind the repeater. Okay, so above the repeater we can put down a block above the dust, and throw on our comparator. So the block where the repeater comes out, just go ahead and put dust. This is me trying to make it, you know, more compact. So you just want to run dust up to come into the side of the comparator. Kind of tough to see, but alright, so coming off of this dust here, you want to put a block on the side. Put a torch on that block, put a block above it, and then put dust here. Okay, so that it's lit up. Next, just put a torch above the block, or on top of the block in front of the comparator. And then we can go ahead and put in our blocks and come up with our observers like that. Alright, and one observer, and you can put a torch there. Okay, so that is going to, you know, form the dropper elevator, and it should be silent. Alright, so next, coming off of behind the top dropper, or the lower dropper, you want to put a line of blocks for as long as your output is. And then we want to put a block here because we're going to need a comparator to sit on the block and to be able to read the dropper. Alright, so coming off in front of the comparator, not, you know, not in front and below, but coming off the nose of the comparator, you're going to want some blocks, and we can just come out with more temporary blocks here. And this is going to be the start of our outputs. And put one more past your last output, and that's going to be the overflow. And just throw down a hopper pointing into that one, and then just go ahead and form your hopper line here. Yeah. Coming all the way back to the dropper. Alright, and that is going to be your outputs done. And before we get too far, I need to throw some junk in these droppers. So you can put whatever you want, anything that's cheap. Because these are never going to move, they're just going to be going up and down. So you want one item in each. Okay. Alright, so I will go ahead and start with the track over here. So you're going to want to block that turns. Coming off the hopper there, you're going to want to block. Come down with another block. And you will need a transparent block here. Whether that is glass or, glass or, whatever, it's up to you. Oh, yeah. And we're going to need to do that too in a second. Oh, you know what? I need to put this up. Yeah. Yes, like that. No. Just give me a second. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. You have to make sure that you have at least 2 blocks here because, a rail can't go up and turn at the same time. So as long as you use a transparent block, whether it's glass or top half slab, whatever, it doesn't matter here. Because the minecart is still going to be able to pass, pass through it. Alright, so anyway, we can run some rails down here. And we're going to need to come back to that hopper. And you can just put powered rails on top of all of this too, if you can afford it. Alright, so I'm going to put some blocks in front of these droppers. Okay, so next you want to put blocks on top of all of these comparators. Okay, and let's see, we don't need that block. And depending on how many outputs you put, that's going to determine how many comparators you're going to use. But I think it's kind of better if you put in an even number of outputs, and then you're going to have an odd number whenever you add on the overflow. But that's up to you. But you just want to start at your first output after the droppers, put down a comparator, and go every other one. And so apparently we're not going to need that one. But, it should be fine anyway. That's why we have a little time delay. So run your repeaters through the dust. And what we're going to do here is come off with a repeater into a block that's over the track. And you're going to want 2 blocks here because this is going to be the start of our little timer or time delay. So I'll just make a little circle here and put a comparator in there. And you're going to want to make sure that you don't leave these 2 blocks below it because that's going to cut off that dust, and that one, doesn't really matter. You don't need to get into that chest anyway, but okay. So that's our little timer. So now you're going to want to, on this block here next to your first dropper, so have a block there and put down some dust going the entire length. Alright, so coming off the redstone here of the timer, you're going to want to put down a repeater, then have a block going above the dust, and then you can just put a torch on the side. Okay, and that should have powered all of your locks, so you should see all of the comparators turned on. Alright, so we're going to have to just take some redstone across here with a repeater, and this is going to form our AND gate that powers the minecart launcher. Okay, so just have your dust coming across with a repeater there, and then we have the signal coming from the input chest, and that's coming across to here. Okay. And one thing you don't want to forget, because this model I'm not using the the curved track, I'm just coming straight down. So you're going to want to make sure you have a block there so the minecart will hit the block and then fall down. Alright, I think that is pretty close. So next you just want to go around and make sure that you have torches powering all of these powered rails, because right now it's just being powered by all the redstone around it, which all that stuff is going to turn on and off. So you can pretty much just put in torches wherever you can, as long as they don't interfere with any of the redstone. And that's all being powered, but just throw a torch there. And then to power the top, I can't really power it like this because that will power the line. So I'm just going to come off of this block here behind the rail and put a torch there, and that'll power it. Okay, so it looks pretty close to being done. So I'll go ahead and set up the filter. So you want 1, 1, 1, and 19, or 19, 1, 1, 1. And no, oh. Oh, we know all of that worked, right? Okay. So, by the way, for the first time that you do this, well, no, I mean, it should be okay. Yeah, it should be okay. So you can just go ahead and put down your hopper minecart, and you want just 4, random items in that. Doesn't particularly matter. And then we're just going to come off with a block in front of the rail there, and when we can put our button there, and that'll be our launch button. All right, so if you want to make the little lights here in the front, I went ahead and put in 2 lights. So you got the one light that shows if you have items in the chest, and you're going to have the second light to show you whenever it's sorting. So if you want to do that, the way that you put those in, so we're just going to come up to the front of the comparator here and just put in some dust, and we can put one light there in front of that block. And for the next block, just come right here. About to say, I don't know why it wouldn't let me put a block down. Alright, so you can just put a block down there and put dust on top. And then come above this chest here. By the way, I think I need to put a torch in here, because I don't think I put one. So yeah, you can just put a torch there to power the rail. Alright, so we can just come off the top with a repeater there, and that will power the light whenever the items or whenever the unit is sorting. Alright, so next you can go through and just put in whatever you want to put in these chests. You're going to hear it click every time you add it or take out an item. Let's see. Just grab some cobble. Ah. Alright, so whenever you get done putting in items, just pop up here, break the redstone, and then put it back on. And that will reset everything, make sure that all of these comparators are turned on. Oh, you know what I forgot? I need to make the game loading switch, because you don't want to forget that. Just come off the back here, and we are going to put down a block with a repeater, and I just put that at 4 ticks with an observer. Okay, making sure it didn't launch. And just throw an item into the chest. Yeah, and that way whenever you load the game, you don't have to worry about anything breaking. Alright, so we'll just throw in a couple output chests here. And of course the last one is going to be our overflow. And if you wanted to build a facade, the way that I made it on the other one there was just put some let's see, because you're going to have double chest here in the front. So if you want to be able to put up item frames, just come from the back here with stairs. Yeah. And then you can put item frames in the front of that. And you can pretty much do whatever you want around the side. This gives you enough room for 4 or 5 output chests, depending on how you want to set it up. And that would be, quite a bit of storage already. But if you need more, you can always, like I always say, you can build a floor below and, make some holes there. But, that's going to be a lot of items anyway. Alright, so just throw some stuff in here to check it out. And, because of the way that it is, it doesn't really matter if you move the items around, or it doesn't matter where the items are. I forgot that block. Alright. Just making sure it didn't pull up more than one item, but yeah, it's fine. Let's see. Yeah, however you want to decorate this thing, it's up to you. I mean, not too bad. Let's see. So that block you don't need, and this block we can replace, but may as well just go ahead and put that there. And I think I just put a stairs here to make it easier to get to the chest. And you can put a solid block here if you wanted to. Oh, looks like the last item. Yeah. Alright, so we've got our comparators, torches, redstone, stack of cobble, and we should have our hopper minecart. Yep. So that's the way that it is. Uh, you know, if you wanted to expand it, you could just, keep building these out more. And, you could always do that after you get it built, Um, just chop that off right here and then make another slice and then, keep adding some and then, put the corner back on it. But I will say that whatever you decide to do, if you decide to work on it, what you may want to do is just, break a rail here. And that way, excuse me, that way that if you ever accidentally send a signal to, trigger the minecart, then, it may, even if you don't have any items in the chest, it would still cause a lot of trouble back here because it would start to pull out, an item and then drop it back off and, it would turn into a mess. So if you ever want to do anything or work on anything, it's kind of best to either break the hopper minecart or just break a rail. But that's about it. If anybody has any more questions, just feel free to let me know. But, I really am glad that, that it's so easy to make a sorter like that, because this is something with the speed that this has and as cheap and as easy it is to make, this is definitely something that I would be happy to make in survival, especially because we don't have that great of a iron supply now that, iron farms are kind of defunct or whatever, I don't even know the state of iron farms anymore. But anyway, so that's how it's made. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.